Hey, what's up guys, it's Scarce here, hitting you with a triple upload, and today I'm going to be reviewing the brand new Sui Zhen album called Losing Linda. I hope you enjoy. Another Life starts off this album, and it starts with some in and out vocalizations that linger on into the very airy instrumental. It features some very dense keys, features some very watery digitronic textures, almost like I'm in the mind of a sad robot. And the vocals here are very endearing and sound like they're speaking from like a void. And the mantra of this track is insanely catchy, but it's also really, really interesting in terms of like what it means for the track. All I see are things that I could be missing. It's almost like an ode to looking towards a future or an alternate reality of some sorts. And you get some very soft woodwinds in the latter half of the track. They give this very barren atmosphere a sense of organic life. And overall, I think it's a fantastic opener with some very, very intriguing ideas. The production here paints a very interesting picture of like digitization with this very stretchy synth lead and some somewhat bright synthesizers as well. It's a very hypnotic track. The lyrics are performed in a manner where it seems like an AI is seemingly learning more and more about being alive, stating that natural progression is a constant. And it's repeated over and over until the outro of the track. And I think it's another fantastically executed track within the thematic elements of the album so far. This one has some light synths in the background, maintains a very low key progression for the first half of the track, and the latter half of the track includes some more illuminating synthesizers to kind of give it a more bright feeling. And the lyrics here kind of detail what it's like to fit in and live in an urban environment where everything is like seemingly changing, and that's like the daily norm. And I think the vocal performance here is great. The chorus has a bit more life to it than the previous two tracks. While that's not a knock on the other two tracks, here it feels a lot more realized, and I think it's a very stunningly odd, beautiful track. This one sounds like a freaking space age track. There's some jazz elements with some like piano and soft chords and some brass incorporated into the track, along with some hand percussion as well. And the lyrics kind of speak more to the theme of being a fixer of some sort with like familiar issues or trying to find a niche in a relationship of some sort, speaking from the AI's perspective. I think the vocal performance here is good, but the backing instrumentation is so lush and soothing that it makes the vocals so much better. The track here kind of shifts the sonic direction for the rest of the album in a flash without sacrificing the album's core concept. Another space age track. This one opens up with some sax and some keys that progress with some very, very mellow woodwinds into the mix and creates another soothing, cerebral track. The lyrics detail the sense of ambition and adventure, breaking away from rules and norms and following instinct. I think the vocal performance here is very sweet and very warm, like almost like she's speaking to you out of love if she knows how to. And I think it's a very satisfying song, both sonically and thematically. This track starts off with some drum machines and some very light bass chords, which includes these soft instances of woodwinds and these squeaky synths as well. The lyrics detail what it's like being a woman in this futuristic setting, saying you have to hold yourself, meaning you have to be a lot more autonomous in this way. And it also discusses attempting to conform what it means to be a woman in this time while also defining what sexuality means as well. The composition of the track aids itself very well, sounding like the song is taking place inside of a very crowded, populated space station, which makes the song topic more intriguing in that context. This song, production wise, puts me in a place where I feel like I'm on a beachfront looking at a tropical sunset on a different planet with a very vibrant and pure ecosystem. It's bizarre, truly, because the composition of the track is pretty great, but there's not a lot of instrumentation here. But that's the atmosphere I get from it. And the lyrics kind of detail a meeting of two minds that are both similar in nature but in different times of their lives where they can't be together. There are some lines on here that say, "We have so much time to share. What's the use in fighting?" It feels like this AI is trying to make sense of the situation with the knowledge it possesses about human love. The latter half of the track is so good. It ends up being a very euphoric send off into the next track. This track has like a minimalist 80s synth pop feeling with some very shiny synthesizers and some bass chords that expand as the track go on. The vocals here are great. You get two separate layers of them, one being organic and one being digital. So it sounds like they're both merging into one, which is very fitting for the theme of the album. The lyrics kind of detail the endlessness of time and what this AI would be doing with its time with a certain special someone or something. And it also details how the AI can't explain what the feeling it has, or it can't explain the experience it has. And it also has lines that refer to continuously learning more words to try and express itself in a better manner. The vocal melody is great, and the outro incorporates this composition held by some hand drums, a bass riff, some rapid synth rhythms, and I think it is a fantastic closer for the album. Night River Rider is mostly just an instrumental. I think it's an okay instrumental. It has some good progression, and it continues the sound of the album as well. It's just a bonus track though, so I'm not gonna count it against my score. But I think it's a good thing to put at the end. Maybe if you're wanting a little bit more of the sound. Overall, I think this is a very fantastic album that utilizes the theme of a digital persona in the real world in a very, very captivating manner. The sound palette here is fantastic. It mixes a lot of organic instrumentation with some subtle electronic compositions to give the entire album a very good sense of duality. The songwriting is extremely tight here, and the vocal performance by Sui Zhen does a great job to emote and convey the intricacies of a naturally evolving AI in the real world very, very well. It ends up being one of my favorite art pop albums, both of the year and in my entire life. I would highly recommend if you like experimental pop, or if you like space age music, or some art pop that has some futuristic qualities to it. And that being said, I would give this one a 9.5 out of 10.